Hi! Welcome to the CSC Movie Recaps. Today, we'll go through the plot of the 2018 film The Island. The news that a meteorite has deviated from its path and is speeding toward Earth has shocked the world. Meanwhile, Ma and his younger brother Xiao are taking a trip with the company's employees as part of a team-building exercise. Ma brings a lottery ticket with him on the trip, hoping to win the love of his gorgeous colleague Shen. The crew departs as soon as the company's president, Zheng, arrives, without counting the staff. Ma and Xiao, who are also late, must chase after the vehicle until the president lets them in. The sea coach takes out, and the driver, Dick, eagerly proceeds to introduce himself to the passengers. He is interrupted by the company's assistant president, who offers the floor to Zheng. The employer notifies the employees that due to an increase in stock, each employee's salary will be increased by 10%. The euphoria of this news is interrupted by Ma's enthusiastic exclamation. The man discovers that he has just won 60 million yuan in the lottery. He begins to run around the salon and sing songs, and everyone in attendance decides that the man is so happy about his pay raise. Everyone's glee turns to panic when they notice a huge wave coming toward their sea transport. The driver, Dick, tells the terrified passengers to put on their life jackets and prepares to go through the wave. Complicating matters, the tsunami is accompanied by a burning cargo ship. Thanks to the efforts of the driver, the coach manages to avoid colliding with the ship. Moments later, the passengers watch in horror as a giant whale swims past them. Along with it, the coach passes through a wave and the ocean current carries the crew off in an unknown direction. In the late afternoon, the boat hits a rocky shore. The shocked passengers try to recover from the terrible crash. Women's wailing and cries for help are heard all around. Ma regains consciousness and is relieved to discover that he has kept the winning lottery ticket. He makes his way through the forest, looking for his beloved Shen among the passengers. He hears the girl screaming in the distance and learns that a rock has pinned her leg. He assists his sweetheart in escaping, and they seek refuge in a crevice, where they spend the night with the other surviving passengers. The second day following the crash, the driver discovers the passengers huddled in the cave and informs them that he spent the previous day exploring the island and finding provisions. The unhappy employees, on the other hand, demand that Dick contact his employer and evacuate them as quickly as possible. Sadly, communication is impossible on the island, and the passengers are completely cut off from civilization. One of the team-building participants, Professor Shu, believes that the worst forecasts of scientists have come true and that the meteorite has fallen to Earth, eliminating all life. The passengers are terrified at the prospect of the end of the world. Ma argues with the professor because he is so close to being wealthy that he cannot afford to lose everything. He exhorts people to get active and figure out how to send out a distress signal. Unfortunately, it begins to rain on the island, forcing the passengers to retreat to the ravine. The driver takes some of the crew into the jungle the next day and tells them where to get food. The office workers, on the other hand, are not used to climbing trees and wait instead. People gradually adjust to life on the island. They scrawl a message on the rocks near the shore using brightly colored life jackets and assemble a satellite from the resources at hand. Regrettably, their attempts to communicate with civilization fail. An unexpected explosion startles the islanders. According to reports, Xiao attempted to repair the marine conveyance on President Zheng's orders, resulting in another collapse. The company president grows outraged as a result of the hopelessness. For the first time, his wealth and power are irrelevant. When Dick offers food and water to the passengers, they rush at it like wild animals. Some complain about the taste of the fruit, which irritates the driver. If they are hungry and want other food, they must obtain it on their own. Some of the team backs Dick and follows him into the forest cave he located. Finally, the survivors find a safe area and start a fire. Ma makes a cautious attempt to communicate with Shen, but she ignores him. Meanwhile, the group elects Dick the driver as their new leader because he is best equipped to survive on the island. The guy agrees to take on this responsibility, but only if certain restrictions are established. The announcement of the new head does not sit well with the company's management. Shen leaves the cave to express her feelings. Ma follows her like a loyal dog. The girl is going to yell, when her co-worker cuts her off with his yell. Shen returns to the cave after seeing the intruding suitor and screams at Ma when he tries to talk to her. Dick calls a public meeting and splits the guys into teams at dawn. To survive on the island, each team must complete particular duties such as gathering food, retrieving water, and cooking. Dick soon becomes obsessed with his newfound power. Ma does not want to be subject to him, so he explores the island on his own. Returning to the cave, the man tells his colleagues what he has discovered over the last few days. Dick grows enraged and beats Shen with a stick for attempting to share meals with Ma. The man attempts to chastise the abuser of his sweetheart, but Dick easily slaps him and presses his face into the boiling water. Later, he hangs Ma to a tree and threatens the others that anyone who disobeys his laws would face the same fate. Xiao assists his older brother in breaking free from his shackles at night. Ma decides to sail off the island the next day and invites his younger brother to join him. Shen sees Ma on the beach and attempts to talk him out of escaping. The man displays the winning lottery ticket and declares that he is willing to risk his life for it. Finally, he decides to tell his co-worker about his thoughts. He has been the unseen prince who has quietly planned the brightest events in Shen's life and helped her live with the aftermath of her traumatic divorce for all these years. Regrettably, the girl does not share her colleague's feelings. Ma decides he has nothing else to lose and attempts to kiss his sweetheart, but is rejected. The disappointed man abandons Shen on the beach, promising to return. The brothers embarked on a little raft. Ma recounts his destitute and brutal childhood with his sibling along the route. The man's attention is drawn to the lifeless body of a polar bear floating in the sea. Because the brothers believe that all of the poles are submerged, they carry the bear carcass with them and return to the island. Dick punishes the escapees by forcing them to row on dry land. The humiliation of the brothers is enjoyed by all. Shen informs everyone about Ma's lottery ticket, which prompts more mockery from his colleagues. Xiao attempts to interrogate his older brother about the lottery, because they promise to split the earnings in half. Ma, on the other hand, pulls his brother away, implying that he will not share the money. President Zhang tosses away his useless money after looking wistfully at a photograph of his daughter. The island's 21st day has arrived. Dick's dictatorship becomes increasingly apparent. He prevents his subordinates from conversing with one another or taking breaks while at work. He orders Ma and President Zhang to catch fish for everyone. On the fishing trip, the guys strike up a dialogue in which the former company boss reveals that he understands Ma's feelings. He advises them to band together to get off the island. President Zhang chooses to address his former colleagues in the evening. He proposes that they do not turn into animals. If they are the last people on Earth, their progress will determine the fate of the entire planet. The crew applauds as the leader delivers his statement, but Dick cuts him off. He is convinced that individuals require rules rather than rationality to thrive. Everyone who disagrees with him is told to leave the cave. The team is divided into two camps. Ma, Xiao, and a few other members of the staff follow the president. Dick continues to lead Shen and the rest of the team. Shen's gang travels through the bush until the president takes them to an abandoned ship, where they discover everything they require to live. President Zhang eventually regains the trust of his employees. Ma and Xiao are eager to see the massive ship the next morning. While fishing, the brothers reconcile and fantasize about how they will divide their fortune if they become wealthy. Meanwhile, the second camp begins to run out of supplies. Ma cannot bear the thought of her going hungry, so he places fish in her basket. She initially refuses to accept his fish, but relents when she discovers that he can obtain her soap. Ma then brings her to the ship and assists in washing her hair. Later, he takes her on a tour of the ship, showing her all of the facilities and supplies. Shen chooses to open up to her co-worker after a nice day together and explains that she broke up with her spouse because she couldn't trust him. The pair has an intimate moment, which is cut short by President Zhang. The girl, perplexed, chooses to return to her camp. Shen tells her party about the cruise ship and soon they too arrive at the ship. President Zhang makes a strategy for the workers to join together. He advises that a deck of cards be used as money. Everyone will be given playing cards of various denominations to use to pay for food or in exchange for completing chores. Dick's group is interested in the offer, but the driver refuses to follow Zhang's instructions and takes his guys away. A perplexed Ma reminds the president of his intention to depart the island. Zhang, it turns out, never meant to flee and was simply using the naive brothers to do his bidding. But, the brothers no longer want to be someone else's slaves and flee to the jungle with Zhang's party. On the island, it's day 60. The brothers established a new shelter in a chopper. Ma has only 29 days to show his lottery ticket and get his prize. President Zhang's opponents gradually become disheartened. They are unable to guarantee their sustenance without specific equipment. The tired brothers give up hope of leaving the island and return to the ship. During their absence, Zhang has built an entire trade enterprise on the ship. Some of Dick's men have joined his camp, relieved to be under the authority of a strong commander capable of providing them with food and shelter. Seeing Zhang, Ma requests to borrow a fishing net from him. The boss laughs and tells one of his goons to bash the brothers and chase them back into the jungle. A frightened Shen arrives at the brothers' hideout late at night. She tells them about the fish she got from Zhang in exchange for instant noodles. Ma is dissatisfied since the girl also follows the boss's instructions and refuses to accept her assistance. Ma tosses away all the fish she brought and Shen leaves. It is the 90th day. Ma, exhausted by hunger, laments the loss of his lottery ticket, which will no longer bring him money. A fish descends from the sky, followed by another and another. There is soon a deluge of fish that have been thrown onto the island by the storm. After they've satiated their appetite, the brothers hang some of the fish to dry in the trees. Ma devises a devious strategy to seize control of the island. They first appear at Dick's camp, offering to exchange the fish for equipment that cannot be mended on the island. They then approach Zhang and make a similar offer to his group. Then, after evenly distributing the fish between the two groups, they set their leaders against each other. Eventually, the brothers intend to discover Dick and Zhang's flaws and defeat them. Ma resolves to apologize to Shen and heads to the small cave to take a shower. But, he discovers too late that another of his co-workers is inside. Shen smiled warmly as she watched the man's monologue from the cliff. Xiao persuades Dick's gang to ask Zhang for a fishing net at another fish distribution. Dick agrees to settle, but the president imposes his own terms. Either he agrees to work for him, or his crew must return twice as many fish as they caught. Dick gets irritated and hits the boss in the head. The former driver then orders his gang to invade the enemy camp and forcefully capture the fish. The brothers, who are watching the factions fight, are pleased since their plan is working. Evening approaches, yet the violence between the two groups continues unabated. Ma addresses the collective via the ship's microphone, urging them to band together in the quest for land that must have survived the meteorite fall. Shen mocks the man's proposition, but Shen defends him. The girl does not want to spend the rest of her life on the island battling for survival. Using restored machinery as an example, Ma demonstrates to his colleagues that if they all work together, they have a fair chance of getting off the island. An adoring crowd applauds the man's inspirational speech and elects him as their new leader. A truce is reached. The hungry are given food, and Shen allows them to set up camp at the camp. Ma instructs the team to keep a log of their observations and to monitor weather and sea level fluctuations. Dick finally gets some much-needed rest, handing over leadership. In exchange for playing cards, Ma offers his colleagues charged cell phones, and Xiao shows them photographs and texts from families. The cheerful islanders assist one another in hunting and have fun together. They hatch a plan to rescue their sea boat from the rocks by working together. The gifted Xiao restores power to the entire cruise camp. They celebrate by throwing a party. Xiao revels in his newfound power and tosses playing cards into the crowd, watching with delight as people hurl themselves at them. Ma and Shen fall in love, spending all of their time together. As he watches her, he begins to wonder if she will stay with him once they leave the island. During another party, the islanders hear what appear to be gunshots. The brothers, together with their driver, Dick, decide to travel to the mountains in search of the source of the sounds. Ma admits to his brother on the way that he has heard similar sounds previously and that they occur every 12 days. They notice a ship releasing fireworks near the island from the bluff. Dick goes to the others to tell them that salvation is on the way. The brothers do not share his joy because they must return to their existence as losers. Xiao is unable to accept this and persuades his brother to conceal the truth from the crew in order to keep his authority. Back aboard the ship, the crew is warned that Dick has gone insane. As he returns to camp and begins babbling about the fireworks ship, the crew dismisses his comments and concludes he's simply lost his mind after losing his power. The unfortunate man is imprisoned inside a refrigerator and electrocuted. Xiao imposes a new rule and bans the squad from venturing into the mountains at night. While Shen and Ma are alone, they talk about what happened to Dick. The girl admits that she is terrified to return home because she is content to be on the island with her beloved. She wishes to be by Ma's side indefinitely, and the man promises her this. A few more days go by. Ma's conscience takes control as she watches the others begin to bully Dick. Xiao reassures his brother, promising that they would come home soon and keep their dominance. The youngster requests that Xing exchange his quarters for playing cards, but he refuses. It comes out that the president had been buying fish all along in order to restore control over his employees. Knowing this, Xiao sought out the firm president's weak point. He gives his employer a recording of his young daughter that he found on his phone. The man threatens to delete the footage if Sheng does not hand over control of his firm and property to him. The employer is convinced that the rest of the world has vanished, so he readily agrees to the agreement and signs over all of his possessions to Xiao. Later, the young guy tells his brother about his cunning idea. He aims to destroy the sea boat's engine and steal the fishermen's nets, leaving their crew alone on the island with no hope of survival. Only he and Ma, according to his plan, will be able to return home and live the good life. The man is horrified when he realizes that his younger brother has become obsessed and has begun to abuse his power. Later, Ma is stuffed into a sack and brought to the shore, where all his colleagues have gathered. Shen decides to perform a wedding with her lover, as she has learned to trust men again thanks to him. Ma's wildest wishes have finally come true, but he does not feel happy. While everyone gathers to cheer and congratulate the couple, he begins to shout that it is all a hoax. The man tries hysterically to convince the group that the ship is real. He asks Dick for help, but the poor guy has already begun to believe in his own insanity. Others surrounding him decide that Ma has also gone insane and hit him with a homemade stun gun. In the days that follow, until the ship arrives, the guy attempts in vain to persuade his colleagues of the truth of his remarks. But not even Shen believes him, since she believes he is messing with her emotions. Xiao encourages his brother and reminds him of the riches they will find when they come home. Dick overhears their chat and accuses Ma of lying. Instead of a fight, the stranger recommends Dick join forces with him to flee the island. Ma advises that his brother get the crew intoxicated to the point of unconsciousness on the evening of the ship's arrival in order to slip away quietly. Dick sneaks on board the ship unseen during the party and destroys the fuel pipe. He tries to fire the fuel, but the lighter is inoperable. Meanwhile, Ma grabs a torch and tells the crew to set fire to the ship so that the people on board will notice the burning and come to their help. Some still don't believe the man and try to take the torch from him, putting out the fire in the process. Ma and Dick toss the flaming candle around till it lands at Shen's feet. The girl throws the torch into the boat, but it fails to reach the ship and falls into the water. In the midst of the chaos, President Xing emerges from his stateroom with a lit cigarette. Ma electrocutes his employer, and the cigarette falls from his grasp, igniting the fire on the boat. He then burns the book in which Shen gave his whole estate to Xiao. The younger brother collapses in a frenzy, having lost his one shot at a better future. People are panicked, attempting to destroy the ship that has kept them alive for months. They pursue him into the mountains, eager to exact revenge on Ma. The man reaches a cliff and falls because he fails to assess his pace. As he soars, he discovers a rescue ship approaching their arid island. The man jumps into the water, a smile on his face, remembering his colleagues' cheerful laughter. He is tossed ashore the next morning. He returns to his wits and searches for the others, but only Shen discovers it. She informs Ma that the entire crew has left because the ship could not wait any longer. Shen, on the other hand, has decided to stay on the island for a few more joyful days with her beloved. The squad of survivors eventually achieved worldwide acclaim. President Zhang purchases the island with the intention of developing it into a resort. The entire crew pays a visit to Xiao, who has been diagnosed with temporary amnesia. After everything, Ma is able to collect his winnings. He obtains the firm building as well as the love of the girl he has been courting for several years. Which team would you join if you found yourself on the island alongside the characters, and why? Leave your thoughts in the comments and share this video.